Modernity is a vague but popular concept. It's a collective term that attempts to summarize the consequences of such revolutionary phenomena as industrialization, urbanization, secularization, and it has side effects on people's customs, life objectives, and modes of thought. Modernity is in opposition to tradition. It's elusive and changeable. Nothing modern is lasting. Here is an example of modernity by means of transportation. Train was something modern when it appeared during the 19th century. Then it became traditional when car was invented. Later, the airline travel gave us a new vision of mobility, and it might become obsolete as the apparition of new means of transportation. What was the Swedish modernity in the 50s and 60s? For Jonas Frykman, culture is the expression of modernity, and culture can be expressed in two ways, qualitative or descriptive. The qualitative way means that only certain forms of expression are allowed to be part of culture. On the other hand, the descriptive way allows everything that humans create to be culture. The descriptive concept won in Sweden because it was more democratic. In fact, what people do is culture.
What people do is culture, whether it is work or pleasure. This way of thinking can be seen in the development of Swedish cities during that time, especially in Stockholm. In 1941, the city council decided to build an underground system in Stockholm, which was then constructed in the 1950s and 1960s. As this came with very high costs, it was necessary to find investors to build part of the subway to connect the new emerging suburbs to the city. By doing that, these investors aimed for raising real estate values for the dwellings they constructed in these suburbs as well during that time. So-called ABC suburbs were built. A stands for Arbete, which is workspace. B for Bostäder, which stands for dwellings, and C for Centrum, which means the commercial center of these suburbs. People living there should be able to live, work, and enjoy their lives in their own small little towns. During that time in Germany, almost the same problems and concerns occurred, but due to completely different reasons. A lot of new dwellings were needed in the time after the Second World War. But as many towns were destroyed, there was a lot of free space in the inner parts of the city. That's why something similar to ABC towns in Germany never existed. Besides that, the most important mean of transport in Germany in the 1950s and 60s was the car. That was due to the increasing prosperity during the so-called German economic miracle, or Wirtschaftswunder. So subways were built quite lately in Germany, and just because of special reasons, like the Olympic Games 1972 in Munich.
In the middle of the 20th century, a gender reform happened in Sweden. During this period, the economy was quickly growing. In parallel, the position of the women in society was revisiting. Women started to proclaim their discontent about their rights. To handle the economic growth and the women's dissatisfaction, the government decided to kill two birds with one stone. It introduced a so-called women's dual role. The idea was that the women worked before the marriage and after the first years of childbirth. In between, they should nevertheless fulfill the different female roles at home. Following the growth of the economy, the number of women increased, changing little by little the position of the women in the society. This conducts to dramatic change in the 1960s, where some new laws was introduced, giving the women almost the same rights as men.
In old China, man was the center of the society. Women must obey their fathers, husbands, even sons. They called basically respect. It was common for rich Chinese men to have more than one wife. only husband could make a decision to divorce or not. But since 1949, the establishment of the People's Republic of China, the new government had actively promoted women's social, economic, and political role. It was the first time women gained the official position in the government. Now they were equal members of the society. Men were only allowed to marry just one wife. Women were encouraged to participate in wage labor with creches for childcare and other sources of support, organized to alleviate their domestic responsibilities. Hi, my name is Xiaojing from China.
Hello, my name is Sebastian. I'm from Germany.
Hi, my name is Patrick. I come from Portugal.